right, everybody, welcome back to Stinker, Drinker, Thinker. We are three guys. We pour some pours, we make some cocktails, and we rank them in our own world-recognized ranking system that we've developed, where we tell you how stuff tastes in an honest way. That's probably the best way to put it. My name is Anthony Longano. I am joined by my two hosts, Troy the Body Viglotti. Troy, say hello.
Hi.
Okay, and then Matt McKibble, everybody. Matt, say hello.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. DiGiorno.
DiGiorno is the best frozen pizza of all time.
It's a good week. It's a great week. While you're watching this, the Yankees are in the playoffs. Game 1 is happening right now. The New York Football Giants are 4-1.
I was say they're probably 12-0 at this point, maybe.
No, I mean they already have a loss, so that's impossible. Don't jinx us. Knock on the fucking fake winning table, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Tough game coming up against the Ravens, but we did lay the smackdown on Aaron Rodgers' Rudy Poo candy ass across the pond, where our ranking system is even more renowned, by the way, in England. They love us over there. But yeah, so we're going to have some fun tonight. A few weeks back, Mr. Body and I, we went down to Kentucky, for about a week, Wednesday through a Saturday. So, do the math. That's a week in my life. You fucking round up, right?
It's a real life week.
And we got a chance to do quite a few distillery tours and taste some stuff. And we went to the Bardstown Bourbon Festival. We met a bunch of cool people. One of the places we went to was Bardstown Bourbon Company, and guess where that is? It's in Bardstown, and it was awesome. It was right down the street from Willett and Heaven Hill. Jim Beam is right over there. We actually last week did an episode with Jim Beam. We did their limited releases. Their Knob Creek 18-year and the new Booker's, the Little Book Chapter 6. You can guys check that episode out if you haven't already. But while we were there, the day we were at Bardstown Bourbon Company, we'll definitely tell a few stories about that. That's one of the most amazing facilities we've been to. They dropped 3 releases that day while we, literally 2 hours before we showed up. They released Fusion 8 and Discovery 8. We'll get into what those are in a second. And then also part of their collaborative series, which they have quite a few of now, which is basically them taking stuff that they source, which we'll also talk about, and collabing with wineries, beer companies, spirit companies, and finishing bourbon in their casks. So,
did they release is it the Furcullen? Is that what it's called? The Irish whiskey one?
That one, I didn't see that one.
I think you texted me saying they had this.
Oh yes,
16-year Irish whiskey.
Yeah, and it was like $2,000.
Well,
yeah,
200.
That was the other bottle we didn't buy.
The Furcullen.
We didn't buy that there, but we got Discovery 8. And we got the, how do you pronounce it, Matt?
Chateau De Laubade.
Chateau De Laubade.
Chateau De Laubade.
The big Laubowski.
Chateau De Laubowski.
We're big Bardstown Bourbon Company's fans here. I have a ton of it. I think I'm up to 14 or so bottles. I'm only missing 1 bottle in the Fusion series. I have 3 different Discovery series. I think this is my 6th collaborative series bottle I have. There's quite a few of it. I'm looking behind me because it's all on the top shelf next to Barrel Craft Spirits. But that day was an interesting day. That was the first day we were down there. We stopped at Willett. We told some Willett stories. And then we went to Bardstown Bourbon Company. That is obviously the most modern bourbon facility, or whiskey facility, I would even say, in the world. And their output there is absolutely incredible. It's also extremely young. They got their money in 2013. They started actually distilling stuff around 2016. And now they're just a mega force. They don't have any of their own product, aged product in a bottle yet. That is exclusively their stuff. So the Fusion stuff, that is a blend of stuff that they source from other places. And really, they're a blender that also distill. It's stuff that they source from other places mixed with their aging spirit, or mature it, and then, or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? The Discovery series is a little bit more of that too, blended with a lot of older stuff. I'm even going to tell you where it's sourced from because I'm an asshole. Even though they signed an NDA, I didn't.
We'll get there. Hang tight if you want to find out more.
But what did we do, Troy? We got there, spent $5 million within 10 seconds. And while we were waiting on our tour, we had a lunch reservation there. The kitchen's fantastic.
How was the food?
Oh, it was so good.
Did any of you get the fried chicken sandwich?
Yes.
Was it amazing?
Yeah, Troy got the Wagyu burger, and I got the fried chicken sandwich.
Wagyu?
And we split them. So we had half and half. And then what was that appetizer we ordered?
Poutine.
Poutine.
Poutine?
Want a fried chicken sandwich with some poutine?
I think you said poutine. I was like, that's a different thing.
Yeah. Our waiter there was great. The staff was great.
Can't remember his name now.
Yeah, he was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
We had some cocktails. They weren't terrible. Weren't the best cocktails we had on the trip.
What were they mixing? Were they mixing with Fusion or?
Yeah, they were using Fusion.
Okay.
Using Fusion. I actually, are you sure? Because they had a full bar of other bourbon.
Well,
and
that's
such, too.
Was it?
This is the one thing I really liked about that place. And all the distilleries we went to, if they had a bar in it or a tasting room, they had all of their own stuff, which is cool. Bardstown Bourbon Company had everything. Everyone's shit. It was all there. Now granted, you know, they have over 50 mash bills that they use there for distillation, and they make a lot of their bank with people buying their barrels, essentially. A lot of the younger companies, Blue Run, Bellamede, Calumet, Pursuit, which we did on there, a lot of that stuff is all sourced from Bardstown Bourbon Company. And which is why they have so many distinct mash bills and why they have so much high output. There's so many fucking rick houses and there's so many fucking barrels in them. But yeah, I mean, they're not anyone's enemy. If anything, they're everyone's friend. And so they had everything on the bar. Troy had a coffee drink while we were waiting on our tour.
I just had
Did
coffee and a whiskey. And
did it have Fusion in it? Was it an infusion?
Hey!
No, didn't you get Irish whiskey?
I got Teeling.
Yeah, you got Teeling in it. That's
It's
right.
got Teeling at Bardstown. That's,
Yeah.
That's
Put
pretty
it in
awesome.
coffee.
When in Bardstown.
When in Bardstown,
Drink
you know,
Irish.
do it the Irish.
Well, I
do.
wonder, yeah, because I mean, like they've already made friends with the industry because they're sourcing all their stuff. Imagine if they're doing 16-year-old Irish or other things, they probably have. I mean, they probably have it. Like, well, is it cool if we put this out in a bar?
Yeah.
Brand recognition. People are already going to Bardstown. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
see their stuff on the shelf.
But yeah, and then we took a tour there, and it was great. We did the Distill It to Barrel tour, which is essentially you do a flight of, I think it was 4 things, right? It was 4.
It was 4.
Yeah, it was just a Distill It, which is basically distilled alcohol before it's aged. It was fantastic.
White Dog.
It was White Dog moonshine. It actually tasted fucking amazing. I would drink it.
Really?
I would drink it. It was so good. Ton of flavor. Then they gave us a Mature It, and we actually gave one of these little sets away.
Yeah, I think we did one of those.
Yeah,
sets.
you'll find these in the Binnies or Total Wines. It's the Distill It to Barrel kits they do. It's a Distill It, a Mature It, a Fusion, and a Discovery series for like $30 or $40. It's actually a really good deal compared to. I mean, Discovery series is a $150 bottle all day, and Fusion is in the 60s. But and then they took us around. They showed us the distillery. They showed us. I mean, when I say modern, everything is done. Like they can walk up to a computer, press a button. All right, we're distilling for Blue Run today. Press 2 buttons, and the mill makes the grains. It goes in the fermentation tank and it cooks. And
Really?
It's just like it's like there's no. I mean, I'm sure there's some human process to it, but like it's all computerized.
Dang,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
and it is pretty awesome. Then they took us out to the rick houses, and we got to try, which I'm actually super. And it was we thieved right from a barrel, so it was right out of the barrel. We got to try the new Origin series that's coming out. They think around March. They're doing 3 of them. They're doing a bottle and bond. They're doing a rye, and then they're doing what was the other one?
Right, bourbon.
Yeah,
right?
I mean it is bourbon.
Okay.
But I want to say it's like a 97 proof bourbon.
Oh, okay.
We tried the bottle and bond one right out of the barrel, but it wasn't obviously.
Surprised not doing a cast strength something. That's
They're
weird.
not. They're keeping everything at $45. So it's going to be like their attainable
okay.
line. It's called the
Gotcha,
Origin
okay.
series. And it was delicious. And when we tasted it, she said the proof was about 118 right out of the barrel.
Okay.
But it was great. It was very good. And she was a great knowledgeable tour guide and all that. So we were pretty. And then like we'll talk about where we went after that while we start drinking it. But let's actually start drinking some of this stuff.
What are we gonna start with?
Let's do
I
Discovery.
was going to say, I can't remember what happened without
I feel-
bourbon in my glass.
I feel a bit parched, please. May I have some whiskey?
So this is Discovery 8, and basically, if you want to read the lingo,
The one thing I like, and you'll probably get there on the side of the bottle, they actually tell you exactly what is in the bottle, and that they're one of the first, and still kind of one of the only to actually list it out that's specific what's in there, which is I super
Yep.
appreciate.
Yeah, I love it, and and the reason why like they do these things, So this is sorry, and I think I said before the Discovery Series had some of their stuff in it. It does not. This is all source stuff that they blend.
It's like they're experimental.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
And I mean, so the reason being is because they don't want to release anything that's under 4 years, and they really just don't have a lot of that right now. So, anyway, this Discovery Series is 66% Kentucky 12-year, which is 70% corn, 10% rye, 12% malted barley. She didn't indirectly tell us, but it's Heaven Hill. She did everything but say it was Heaven Hill, so that's kind of cool. It's a 12-year Elijah Craig or whatever. 17% Indiana, probably MGP. It's a 7-year, 45% corn, 51% rye, 4% malted barley. 11% Ontario, a 12-year 100% corn whiskey.
Yep.
And then a 6% Indiana, which is a 6-year 95% rye, and 5% malted barley, which sounds really interesting.
That's
sounds
a lot. Like the fact that you can blend all that crap together and make it taste allegedly good. We'll find out soon. That's something.
That's going to be interesting. With one, it's obviously will be a little sweeter with a 100% corn blend in there, even at a lower percentage. While Troy's getting the seal off this, before we do the pop, we'll tell a story about this. They actually sent Discovery 8 and a sample of Discovery 9 out to Fred Minnick, and he accidentally reviewed 9 before he did 8, and he said that 9 was the best whiskey he ever put in his mouth.
What?
And he released it by mistake. Apparently, that's what the tour guide told us.
Did he say 8 or did he said
no, he said 9. He didn't. I guess it's Fred Minnick.
Yeah.
He probably didn't realize that Discovery 8 wasn't out yet.
Yeah, I mean he gets of all time.
Yeah, but I mean, for a blend, I mean it'd be very interesting to see. And we did try a little bit of this at the distillery. It was a small taste. I don't really
of 8 or 9. Sorry, okay.
9 is not in
production yet.
Yeah, I mean it's done.
Here's my one question. Troy will tell me as he's opening it. Did they keep the really heavy cork, or is it totally gone now? All right, let's see. Let's see the pop.
It still feels, it's still that heavy ass cork.
No,
it's lighter.
Oh yeah, that's like aluminum. Splash, splash, and I'm big on a birth.
They downgraded the cork.
They did that, I think, in like 5,
really?
I think, or 6, something like that. The corks were like insane before.
When we did our Blind Madness, we had Discovery 4 in here, and it was I think it was rated the worst whiskey we tasted.
No, but it was definitely out down there, and it was definitely super shocking.
Oh, was it the Wild Rover? Was that the worst one? I don't even remember.
Wild Rover?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but
High and Wicked.
It's so. Oh yeah. Because I remember liking 4 a lot when I first tried it, and the blind did not do well. So, who knows? Ooh, you can smell the sweetness right up front.
Yeah, it smells super corny. It does smell sweet. I'm not getting a lot of barrel at all. You get a little bit of spiciness in there.
Yeah, you get like.
And I don't know what I'm talking about. We speak in absolutes 100% of the time on here. 60% of the time we're wrong. And it's only because we took a trip to educate ourselves. But like, I don't know about you, but can you smell Canadian whiskey and Canadian rye has a thing to it. It's kind of like a smooth hard shell candy type of thing on the smell.
Yeah.
I
actually get a little mint. A little bit. Could be like a greenery of some sort, but yeah, it's definitely sweet and corny and a little bit herbaceous. Troy, got any smells?
57.05% alcohol, by the way.
Ooh.
So 114.1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some smells.
What do you got for smells? What kind of smells you got in your nose?
Sweet corn and what'd you say? Herbaceous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks, Troy. glad you're here.
Me too. No, I mean it's vanilla for sure. I mean it's nothing that's gonna jump out as very different, but it's also very delectably aromatic.
I got like mint covered almonds.
I don't get
Do you?
I don't get any mint.
Yeah.
No, I
Like
mean
almonds wrapped in mint leaf.
Like I'm
maybe
thinking
like one of those Andes chocolates that you get at like Olive Garden, just the mint part of it, like maybe that smell.
Yeah.
But
like an after dinner mint, like at
Yeah.
the restaurant.
It's
Those
so
little
weird.
pillowy ones.
it's so weird because like you would think this is corn dominant, but there's also a 95% rye in here too.
Yeah.
Like
That jumps out to me a lot. So we'll see if it translates to the palate, but a little bit.
I mean, it's just like maybe just the spice
It's
of
fresh.
it. Yeah, it's
Just
just
very
the spice.
fresh.
Very sweet and very fresh.
It hits you on the sides of the tongue. Like the
Yep.
sides of my tongue are just like tingling.
I would say this is some pretty tasty stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's smooth.
Finishes a lot drier than it does on the nose.
It's like a Melba, like an overdone toast kind of thing. Is that drying?
I'm almost getting like if you ate a handful of M&Ms, like the finish, the very last thing I'm tasting is like if there was just a
dusty
little
chocolate.
bit of M&Ms left in my mouth after I swallowed it type of thing. It's not chocolate heavy, but like just that-
Super light milk chocolate.
yeah.
Yeah. It is a little bit more. It is still taste. Maybe I'm just stuck.
Surprisingly not fruity. Like I'm not getting too much fruit there.
If anything,
And
it'd
like
be
and for having
strawberry, but
for having what a 2 12-year whiskeys in it. Like I mean one of them 66%. The other one is that 100% corn whiskey that's 11% from Canada. It's a 12-year. Like I don't know.
it's pretty interesting.
You feel like you would get a little bit more barrel. But I'm just not getting a ton of oak. I'm just getting a lot of pleasant sweetness, a good amount of spice.
I think the age doesn't present as like oak. It presents as just like roundness and richness, but it's not necessarily like very barrel heavy or oaky.
I'd definitely get it on the palate.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In a good way, but, I mean, there's the astringency on the palate that I'm still feeling after, like, a good 25 seconds. So.
Yeah.
I think it's nice.
It's got, like, this chocolate finish. It's, like, very light. Milk chocolate. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I really dig it.
I'm still thinking like after dinner mints, like the chocolate mint, like not the Andes. Like what are those? Really pillowy? I don't really. Like what are those things? Like dusty pillowies?
Yeah, and they melt in your mouth type of thing.
I don't know. I don't
You
eat
get
them
them
very
at, like,
often,
cheap
obviously,
fucking
but
diners in New
Yeah,
Jersey or, like,
yeah,
an
yeah.
Italian restaurant.
Sometimes like Asian places too. or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah. I don't know, Matt. What's your full scope take on it?
Whew. What is it? Discovery 8, eh? It is. There's a lot going on. It's very drinkable. It's not what I prefer. I think it's a little bit more herbaceous than I personally enjoy. It's got a little green minty things that not me personally not a fan of, but overall, I'm going thinker.
Okay.
Thinker.
All right, Troy.
Yeah, I might have to agree. I'll go thinker drinker. I'm definitely gonna lead with a thinker, but it's great balance. I've had whiskeys, bourbons that come across like far more over oaked based on anything similarly aged to this one, and this one just doesn't really present itself like that, which is nice and takes skill. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
This is one of the better. I mean, not better. I like all of the Bardstown stuff that I've had. Really. I'd say this is probably in the top 3, maybe top 2 Bardstown products that I've had. So I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I would agree with the top level. What else would you put in there?
Out of theirs, EBS
The KBS one.
KBS.
KBS,
Yeah, that
excuse
one.
me.
That one's
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Kentucky Bourbon Stout.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kentucky.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know where I got the E from. I think I actually. Never mind. Doesn't even matter.
I know exactly where you got it from.
I don't really. ESB is another beer style.
Oh,
And I mixed
yeah.
up the B with the S and then called it K. And,
yeah.
Or not. Blah, blah, blah. And then I don't know. I can't remember all the ones that we had that first time I tried them at Matt's house like 2 birthdays ago.
might have been the Fron that you liked a bunch too. That stuff's really yummy.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into some collab stuff here in a second. So I would say, I mean, it's not hiding anything. Obviously, it's a blend of 4 or 5 really good things here, or 4 really good things here. And the nose, like if you look at the mash bills and on the side, it's like, oh yeah, I smell that. It's pleasantly sweet with like a nice lingering spice and just like really easygoing finish. It's nothing special on the finish. I mean, I'm not thinking too hard about it, but I guess I could. It just tastes like really good bourbon. And honestly, bourbon, I would spend $150 on.
Technically, it's whiskey, right? Not bourbon, but
well, yeah,
it's got corn.
I mean, I honestly, I think it's whiskey that I would spend $150 on too. I think it tastes its price. I think it's definitely worth it. I'm just gonna call it a drinker thinker. Drinker first. I mean, I can honestly put a few of these back because I think it's a really good proof too.
Yeah.
Is all the Discovery stuff whiskey and not?
Well, I mean, by law,
Most of it is
it's a blend.
it's
All of it's
blend.
blended. Yeah. So
If it's blended and most of it is like it has rye in there, or it'll have corn, or it'll have some weird mash bills. All their Discovery stuff is not actually bourbon. Yeah, some of it is. But
Hold on. So even if the mash bills were all over,
if the
51,
mash bills are all bourbon, it could be. Yes,
that's what I'm asking.
But not all
are
the-
there Discovery series that are true bourbons?
I don't know. We'd have to look that up.
Check, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Speaking of true bourbons, this is a great segue. While Troy's finishing up his, what was the name of that bar that we went to directly from Bardstown Bourbon Company? Our first night in Bardstown, where we sat at the bar. It was like the oldest whiskey bar in Bardstown.
Yeah, I don't remember the names of anything, so I'll look it up.
Whatever the oldest whiskey bar is in Bardstown, and like Bardstown's small, guys. It's really small for being the capital of the place where everything you drink comes from, for the most part. It's a small place.
I got it.
What is it called?
Old Talbot Tavern.
Yep, Old Talbot Tavern.
Old Talbot Tavern.
And
Yeehaw!
we went there, and like it was recommended to us, and I mean, you look online, there's not really much else to do there, but it's like, all right, we're who's got a good bourbon selection, and like honestly, we were looking for better quality food than what we had there, but it's bar food. We sat there, and really old Kentuckian town, really cute, some gift shops, and so we sat at the bar. The waitress was adamant. I think you had an old Granddad 114, and the waitress was adamant that I try this new Calumet 16 year. It's like, I just left Bardstown Bourbon Company, but like,
Okay.
but yeah, I'll try it, and it was fine. It wasn't really impressive, but I did what I did, and we got some fried food, and the food wasn't great, but like while we were sitting there, these group of people started wandering in and sitting at these tables, and then like this big older guy got up and started talking, and apparently he, I forget his name, I probably wouldn't say it anyway, but I will tell you he was the owner of Toddy's Liquor, and I will say this, Toddy's Liquor in Bardstown. They have another location in Lexington too, I think. And it was like they even had a billboard outside. It was like talks with blah 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 from Toddy's Liquor, owner of Toddy's Liquors, and like this guy started getting up and talking, and you could tell he's not like a public speaker or whatever, but he was talking about how like when before the bourbon boom hit, like he was the main supplier for a lot of these places, and he was talking about how like barrel picks like really started with him, is what he made it sounded like.
Oh wow.
And I was like, oh wow, all right, this might be interesting. So me and Troy started listening while we were eating, and quickly we had enough.
You assess the situation.
Yeah, and so and this other guy just got up and started cutting him off, and apparently there was a guy who did his first barrel pick with him there that flew all the way in from Washington, D.C. He's the head of the #1 whiskey bar in Washington, D.C. If you guys know what that is, you'll know who I'm talking about. But like Toddy's was his distributor for years, and they did a whole bunch of barrel picks with him, blah, 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 whatever. These people were just so full of themselves, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but like it was really, really weird. And they started going, and like the crowd there was like, so like, and they start, this is the big thing, and this is the thing I wanted to mention. So they were like, everyone in the country thinks that they can make bourbon. No one makes bourbon like we do here in Kentucky. It doesn't taste anything like bourbon if it's not made in Kentucky, which is complete bullshit.
Sure.
By the way, but like, he's like, and the one guy from DC was like, yeah, I tried New York. I heard everything about Texas whiskey. I went down to Texas a few months back, and They said it was only aged 2 years, and I was like, it's got to be horrible. And I tasted it, and it was fucking bad. Like, and he started throwing Balcones and TX and all this shit under the bus. Guys, we did a blind shootout with 16 whiskeys and Balcones, a 2-year Texas whiskey, beat them all.
Yep.
Like, and we're not the best tasters ever, but that shit is good, and that guy sucked. I'll say that. But then the crowd's like, oh, so like, what kind of barrel picks do you have in your store? And this is after this guy went off on a rant about how he only carries Kentucky whiskey and Kentucky bourbon is the best. He's like, well, I got some High West, which is Utah, and MGP, which is Indiana. I got Barrel Craft Spirit Store picks, which is MGP or Canadian or whatever. And just like a whole bunch of not a single store pick he has is from a Kentucky distillery. Not a single one. So finally, like at one point, me and Troy just looked at each other and like he goes, yeah, we're leaving. And then we just like got up and got the fuck out of there. But and then we decided to walk over to Toddy's Liquors and just see what the selection was.
Sure.
And lo and behold, it was Barrel Craft Spirits and all this other stuff. But like, and you would think like the secondary market for whiskey is fucking bullshit. And stores that have bottles on the shelves just to have bottles on the shelves that they're never going to sell because they put a bottle of Blanton's at $300. Fuck you guys, man. Like, seriously. And you walk into that store and they have, all the mixers and all the Four Roses and all the Blantons and Buffalo Traces and Wellers. And they're just charging out the fucking ass for it. And it's like, dude, you're 5 minutes from all these fucking places. Like,
I went to I think it was like a convenience store, and it was just had every single possible whiskey you could ever imagine, like every allocation from every year, sitting there at 20 times MSRP. And it's like,
why?
Like, will you negotiate any of this? And like, no. I'm like, okay,
no one's ever gonna buy it.
It looks good on the
And they're
shelf.
like, well, we paid a premium to get it here. You paid a premium, and now it's never going to sell. You're never going to recoup your money.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that attracts people into your store?
Or one of my least favorite things ever is when you go there and they have high price and they leave it in a window and it's just getting direct sunlight for years. And you're like, all right, well,
and then some fucking idiot will come and buy it, and it'll be tainted. Yeah, we saw that. Yeah. There's a window shop in Kentucky. Where it was Heaven Hill 27, a Pappy was in there. Yep. I took a picture of it. A whole bunch of shit in there, man.
Just direct sunlight.
Just direct sunlight. Some crazy wild turkey, like a 22-year-old aged wild turkey or something like that. Just like, fuck you guys, man.
Yeah, and if you don't know...
And like not even direct sunlight with the box closed. It's open. Yeah. Like the Heaven Hill box was open.
Yeah, and if you don't... we've talked about it a little bit, but you can just Google and look on YouTube. There's people doing experiments. I think even Breaking Bourbon did a bunch of experiments. Just like the number one way to ruin whiskey is keep in direct sunlight.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Just don't do that. Yep.
Anyway, we should move on. You guys want to do a little cracker break?
Yep. Yeah. Cracker break.
Cracker break. Cracker break.
And welcome back from Cracker Break. This Cracker Break's brought to you by Yeasty Boy Bread Company. Check them out.
Scared the shit out of me, and I knew it was coming.
Brilliant.
Troy.
Yes,
Give
sir.
me number 1 through 12.
7.
Okay.
That was a really cheesy answer. Lucky number 7.
You want to redo your answer?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Cheesy.
I don't know if these are jokes or statements. They're kind of jokes. A naked man broke into a church. The police chased him around and finally caught him by the organ.
Matt, why did the skeleton go to the prom?
To get
He had no body to go with.
Oh,
come on, man.
That's funny. Can I read? I'll do one more. I think that's funny, real quick. I'll make it quick. Okay. Hey, Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the most popular guy at the nudist colony?
Ooh.
Who do you think? Got a guess?
I don't know.
The most popular guy at the nudist colony is the guy who can carry a cup of coffee in each hand and a dozen donuts.
Yeah. I get it.
Oh, get it. I guess it's a big dick joke. It's a big dick joke, right?
Is that
what it was?
Yeah. Yep. All right.
I wouldn't know what that's like.
You piece of deal.
A little piece of deal.
All right. So what do we got? What's next?
So, Bardstown also, like I mentioned at the top of the episode, does a collaborative series is another one of their lines. Part of their 3 or 4 core lines. It's one of their more expensive bottles. So as far as price brackets are concerned, if you can find the fusion stuff, guys, especially the later ones, they're great. Those are $60, $65. Discovery is about $150 a bottle. These collaborative series, you'll see anywhere between $170 and $200. I think this bottle was $179 or $185 or something like that. But it's the second release that they've done with Chateau De Laubade. Laubade, the big Laubade-ski. And on here, it's a blend of 12-year Kentucky whiskey and 10-year Tennessee whiskey finished in those casks. Troy, you looked this up in what did you say? It's not. Oh, it's
Armagnac.
Armagnac. Yep.
Yeah. And they are specifically. I don't know if it says it on there or not. For the mash bills,
It does not say it on the bottle.
So 66% is a 12-year-old Kentucky bourbon, and that is 75% corn, 13% rye, 12% malted barley, and the remaining 17%. That's not how math works. Is a 10-year-old Tennessee bourbon, which is 84% corn, 8% rye, and 8% malted barley.
So they'll be the first to tell you that whatever it is they're getting from Tennessee is not Dickel. So not Dickel, I guess.
Is that a good thing?
Depending on who you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most people look down on Dickel, but
Down on the Dickel.
Down on the Dickel.
You know how I feel about the Dickel.
You love the Dickel.
I love the Dickel.
He's liked the
There
Dickel for years.
is an
I have.
8-year-old Dickel bourbon that I do want to try, because I think
I saw that in the store.
yeah, because I think a lot of people talk poorly about the Tennessee whiskey, but I think in some of the rye stuff, but I think the bourbon's actually supposed to be pretty all right. So
Is that like a brownish purplish label with gold?
Yep.
I
I
saw
have
I saw a whole bunch of them.
it was rare, and then it wasn't actually. It was just people.
I think Dickel's becoming
silly.
less and less rare.
I mean, it never really was. I think people are just like, oh my god,
The Dickel!
a slobber knocker! It's a Dickel knocker!
I went to the store and I got me some Dickel! Anyway, pop.
Sploosh. I just love their bottles and how like they do the etch
Yep.
work, and so when you look at the front label, you can see the back etch work. It's so cool.
Yep, and so that wasn't their original bottle design, too. We actually talked about this with them, and they had some of the original Bardstown bottles on there. They kind of look like those Rock Hill Farms, or not the Rock Hill Farms, the what's the one out from New York that's the big squarish rectangular bottles, Solera cast finished.
Oh, Hill Rock.
Yeah, Hill Rock, yep. They had a whole bunch of them on the bar up there, and and they go for $2,000.
Oh, like
a
the
piece.
original.
The original,
Bardstown?
yep.
Yeah,
And
that'll happen.
they when they first started doing researching, they obviously the spirit that they were using in there was like strictly cocktail spirit, and even they would say that. But bartenders hated fucking pouring from the bottles.
They do suck.
Yes, like pouring from that kind of bottle blows. So they ended up switching to these, and they're very convenient to pour from.
Troy, as a bartender who is pouring from this bottle, what do you think? Pouring.
I mean, definitely preferred over the other ones that they had. Yeah, for sure, by far, by a big long shot. Like, those Hill Rocks. I know exactly which ones. Yeah. No,
They're
I mean,
ridiculous.
well, it's not even so much about pouring. It's just storage and space. Like, especially when organizing bottles on your shelf or behind a bar, you don't want like a super clunky
Unless
bottle if you can help it.
all of your bottles are the Hill Rock, then none of your bottles should be the Hill Rock style.
I don't. Never been a fan of, and no offense to them, except for the fact
good
that I'm not a
stuff.
huge fan of their whiskeys or their distillery, Woodford Reserve.
Oh.
That was kind of all right. Never mind.
We're going to talk about that on the next episode.
Join us when
And honestly, no, I don't hate all of their whiskeys. There's plenty that I've actually really, really enjoyed, but I don't like any of the bottle shapes.
Yeah,
Personally,
I agree. I totally agree. Them and Jefferson's, it's interesting.
I like Jefferson's better.
Bardstown Bourbon Company actually makes Jefferson's Ocean.
they put on the ocean, the Woodford.
No,
docks.
they take barrels. Jefferson buys it and they put it on a boat, and even the lady at Bardstown was like, it doesn't even taste any different.
You can't taste the briny ocean.
And some people are like, they'll talk to people and it's like, yeah, I could really taste the sea air, and she's like, bitch, do you want to compare it like next to like what it is before we said it? It doesn't. It's a gimmick, guys. It's a fucking gimmick. They don't even
all right.
make anyway.
What's more of a gimmick?
I
That?
don't necessarily disagree with that 100%.
What's
Yeah,
You don't disagree with that 100%.
I don't agree with that 100%.
Okay,
so that's
okay.
what I meant to say.
what is more gimmicky?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that is gimmick. What is more gimmicky, that or like the Brad Paisley? I'm taking my whiskey on a tour in my back.
The
trailer.
Roadstock Rye from fucking Whistle Pig.
No,
like
or the one that's called the
How
Highway.
about anything Whistle Pig does, like fucking Traeger
no,
pellet finished?
I'm just saying.
Fuck those
like
guys.
Like carrying around your whiskey in a trailer and then releasing as like this one on tour with me. That's how do you
pretty
feel about
gimmicky. We have a celebrity episode in the book somewhere. We'll talk about that.
We'll get there. But
do you have Brad Paisley whiskey?
I didn't. I don't want to.
I'm not buying.
I'd buy
that.
for the episode, but all right, we'll get there. Chateau De Laubade.
This smells interesting. You can definitely, coming from the Discovery, you can definitely get the finished cask on the nose
more
here.
Medicinal, like it's got
Absolutely, it's got like a grape Robitussin type of thing, and not the bad parts of Robitussin. Like
it's don't tell me Diamond Tap because I'll go crazy.
Matt, what's the proof on this? Can you see?
107.
107. I mean, that's what a lot would consider the sweet spot. By the way, guys, speaking of 107, Mr. Weller 107 himself, who was on our Weller Barely Nowhere episode, Jared Kalish, got married this last weekend. Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Kalish.
Geraldo.
Yeah. We'll drink, not Weller 107, but we'll drink something that's 107 for you. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit like, medicinal is a good word. I just get a lot of grape, oak.
It smells more oaky than the.
It smells hotter too
Bardstown.
for some reason.
Or
Like it does smell a little spicier.
Mm-hmm. Troy,
Yes.
what are you thinking?
I only took one sip so far.
Oh, I'm just
one
smelling
smell
still.
rather.
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah,
I hope you didn't take a sip. That's
speak
cheating.
English today.
Thinking like Armagnac, like we did the old elk. I'm trying to think if there's any notes, but
This definitely tastes better than the old elk.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I guess there's more fruit component in general. Dried fruit like figs, plums, jam.
Yep. And a lot of like, oh my God, the finish is.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the first version of this came out. Was like,
do you have the first?
no, I passed on it because I was like, I don't know, whatever. It was like $150 a time. I wasn't. That was hard to spend that much money on the bottles back then. And then it got like, still to one of those days is considered one of the better whiskeys that Bardstown's ever put out. Like hunted and go for thousands of dollars, and like it's whiskey. Some people's whiskey of the year. Like, well, fuck. So I have no comparison. I never tried that one, obviously, but
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think this is as good as what people are saying about the first one, at least.
I mean, this is absolutely incredible to me. It comes off a little bit hot, but then this palate turns into this like, kind of like this dry wine, like a dry red wine type of thing. Interestingly enough, like that's the kind of at least the mouthfeel that I get, and the finish. I mean, I was gonna say I'm still finishing. Beavis and Butt. I'm sorry. It like literally, it's still the finish is still happening, and it's just super sweet, and it is grapey. It's like grape candy.
Do you get
and
this
I'm not a big grape candy flavor.
when it first hits your mouth? Do you get a little bit of like astringent sharpness? Like, you recoil a little bit, and then it kind of fades out.
Yep.
That's the only note that I don't necessarily like. Whatever that feel is, the mouth feels when you first get it.
It's kind of like a little pin going in different points of my tongue. It is just spice. There's a real, after that quick burn or sharpness, the traditional bourbon layer is there, and then it just finishes into this sweet, dry, but also like, I don't know. The mouth feels incredible. It's extremely interesting.
It's like
But the finish is so long.
dried raisin and oatmeal porridge.
Yeah, it's not like Four Roses limited edition long, but
Do you know when I don't know if you do this at all, if I've done this, but if you take like a hot oatmeal and you put raisins in it and they get like plumpy and like they just like kind of like plump up a little bit and they get like warm and jammy almost.
yeah,
That's
like
what this
that.
reminds me of. Yeah.
I approve.
Hot raisins.
Plumpy.
Well, Troy, since you haven't had any takes yet, why don't you give us your wrap up on it?
Troy,
I haven't had any takes.
Chateau De Laubade number 2. What do you think?
I like it. It's a drinker thinker. Sorry, I wasn't sure what you meant when I said I didn't have any takes.
You haven't said anything
just
about it yet.
just recap.
I said it tastes like dried fruit and figs and plums and didn't I say that?
Yeah, I thought you were just talking about the nose.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just give us your full review on it.
Okay. I think it's great quality. Finish is sweet. Has a long finish. It's very bourbony, and I thoroughly enjoy it, and I think it's worth the price.
All right.
You would pay $180 for it.
Sure.
Yeah. Matt?
I am going. I'm going drinker, actually. I'm just going drinker. Yeah, I'm sticking with it. I think it's above average as far as overall whiskey. That I do not like that initial mouthfeel. It kind of hits my tongue. I don't really like it. It's a little off-putting, and then it finishes great. The nose is great. I think overall it's a very well done whiskey, but it's got a little bit of something I don't particularly love, so I'm going above average, but not amazing.
Yeah, I think it's like, I think it's absolutely incredible. It's got somewhat of a journey all the way through. I think it's worth the price, but it's almost like you're on a beach, and it's like the first cold day of the year, and the water's still warm, and you get hit by that first wave, and it's initially wet at first, but then feels so good because the water's like warmer than you thought it was going to be.
That's fair, yeah.
Like, so it's a really quick journey. Like, it's a really quick sensation, that initial kick, and then it's got all that bourbon flavor, and then all of a sudden it's just like that dry, good red wine, old red wine type of thing, and then the finish is just so tasty and lingering. I'm going to call it a drinker thinker, yeah, I'm happy that I spent $100 whatever.
It is cool, and I mean, these are signed. I think you got
mine's signed by both master distillers, and yours is signed by one.
Well, I didn't go, so you know what? I don't deserve it.
Yeah,
whatever. But yeah, I think both of those are pretty darn good whiskeys. Bardstown will get some flack for how expensive all of their bottles are, except for obviously Fusion. Hopefully, the Origin kind of fixes that a little bit. But
hope so.
Yeah, that's my only one gripe overall with Bardstown is just how expensive their whiskeys are, and for a lot of people, it's not attainable at all, and they'll probably never have to try this, this kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's my only bummer about it, but it is darn good whiskey. So
I agree. 2 bottles going in the Infinity Drinker. That's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet. So, all right, well, that was fun. Coming up, what do we got going on, Matt?
We got some cool stuff. So our next episode, we are going to dive into the land of honey finished whiskeys. So I think we have 4 different honey finishes. Technically, we have 5, but we're not going to do the 5th one because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that bottle yet. It might be a special bottle. So we're going to do 4 whiskeys, all honey finished, some in different ways than others, and see if we like honey finishes. I don't know.
Cool. Just some housekeeping stuff. Appreciate all you guys out there. Make sure wherever you're listening or watching, hit the subscribe button, thumbs up, comments, share with your friends, 5-star ratings, all that stuff means a lot to us. Reach out to us online if you have any questions or on stuff that you want to see on here too. We obviously get lucky and have a lot of stuff, especially this time of year too. We I don't know how we end up with stuff we end up with somehow, but we get it here. So if you guys have any feedback for us, we would love to hear it. And yeah, until next time, Troy.
Yoli!